Okay, sige, let's start. Let me just open yung ano ulit. Tapos, nasan na nga ba yun? The normal distribution. Okay. Um, so, ayan, let me share my screen. If may questions kayo, use our GCs, ha? Use our GC. Huwag tong Google Meet, okay? Kasi, mag-share ako ng screen. Magkakaloko-loko if mag-shift ako ng screen, okay? And medyo nalilito pa naman ako. Okay, here we go. Okay, guys. So, we'll have another topic, statistics, our last session na natin today, I've been told. Okay? So, ayan, welcome sa last session natin. Sorry if di na tayo nakapag-chem. No time na talaga eh, no? Wait. Yan. So, this is my presentation. So, today we're going to talk about another topic in statistics, the normal distribution. May problem set akong hinanda for discrete probability distributions and normal distribution. According to our normal timeline, dapat magkasama sa natin sinasasagutin. Kaya lang, unfortunately, we don't have the time to do that. Pero, today, instead of using the examples dito sa PowerPoint, I'll let you answer some parts of this problem set as we go on. I'm going to send yung problem set dapat for today, no? I'm going to post yung para sa huli nating topic, yung discrete probability distributions mamaya. I'm going to send yung problem set natin for today and we're going to answer as we discuss this, okay? Yan, just keep it at bay, just keep it ready. Sagutan ko na rin yan. So, mamaya. Okay, let's start. So, today, we're going to be discussing yung normal distribution. The normal distribution. Diba, last time, and by the way, expect na things should be a bit fast ulit. Kasi, marami tayong didiscuss ulit. And sa klase, mabilis lang din talaga to. Nung nasa grade 9 ako. Okay, so, the normal distribution. So, last time, diba, we have yung mga discrete probability distributions. Ngayon, this is another type of probability distribution. Kaya lang, this time, the variables are continuous. Okay, continuous ang distribution. Dati discrete yan, continuous yung variable. Okay? Then, as napansin nyo dati, di ba? Yung huli nating discuss, yung mga probability distributions, meron siyang graph, di ba? Meron siyang graph. Actually, yung isa nating ginawa dati, may probability, tas ginraph natin lahat yon. Di ba? They can tell you about the skewness of your data. And in fact, kasi sample lang yun eh, if you make the class width smaller and increase the sample size, you will eventually reach this very good-looking curve. That is what you call the normal distribution for your population. So, ayan, if a random variable has a probability distribution whose graph is continuous, bell-shaped, and symmetric, it is called a normal distribution. The graph is called a normal distribution curve. It is given by this formula, but you don't need to memorize this at all. Mas importante pa rin ang area under the normal distribution curve because, as we will discuss later, the area under a normal distribution curve corresponds to the probability of the variable. Okay? So, the shape and position depends on its mean and standard deviation. So, what does that mean? Example, dito. Di ba? Yun pala, no? The more we move to the right along the x, kasi, di ba function siya, y tsaka x, no? So, yung standard deviation shows how steep or gaano kataas yung curve mo. Kasi dito, di ba? Yeah, basta given by this. Tapos, pag naman mean, it would move to the right. Look, ha? Yan, di ba? Different means but same standard deviation, same height, pero mas nasa right yung, mas mataas yung mean. Different means and different standard deviations. Yan, magkaiba yung shape ng bawat bell curve nila. So, ano lang importante dito? The curve never touches the x-axis, di ba? The mean, median, and mode are all equal and are located at the center of the distribution. Kasi nga symmetric yung distribution, di ba? Unimodal lang, tas symmetric along the mean. Okay? What does that tell you? So, kapag divide natin to half yung curve, tig 0.5 sila. Okay? Tas the total area, kahit na it never touches the x-axis, is 1 or 100%. So, if naalala nyo, the sum of probabilities is 1, ganun din siya dito. Okay? Tapos, the area lying within one standard deviation is around 34% or pag pinagsama natin, 68%, di ba? Pag naman 2 standard deviations, the area under the curve is 95%, and kapag 3 standard deviations away, 99.7%. Standard yan. Ngayon, we go to the term standard normal distribution. Yan, naka-red, di ba? Naka-red. Kasi kakaiba siya. So, the standard normal distribution is used by statisticians to make calculations easier, no? Okay, by the way. Hindi, sige, mamaya na pala. Mamaya na. Oh, the standard normal distribution is a normal distribution, special type, with mean 0, and standard deviation of 1. Okay? 1 yung kanyang standard deviation. So, to transform all the observations of any normal random variable x to a new set of observations with mean 0 and variance 1, we use this formula. Z-score ang tawag dito, Z-score. The Z-score represents how many standard deviations your value is away from the mean, di ba? Yun yun. Ayan. And yung bawat value has a specified value of the area to its left. Okay? Meron siyang special value. Kumbaga, each z-score represents an area to the left. May special value yan, kada z-score. Okay, let me just bring this out for later. Okay. Ayan, this is what it means. So, if z-score is 1, ang area to the left niyan is 1 minus all of this. Okay? Parang ganon. And so on and so forth. So, sige, how do we find the area under the standard normal distribution curve to the left of z equals 1.73? Kasi mas importante yung area eh. Area corresponds to probability, sabi ko nga. Okay, we won't do this kasi we use the calculator, pero I'm just gonna show you in case you're interested, kasi sa school, baka ito ipagawa sa inyo. I mean, baka sabihin sa inyo, at some point, use the z-table. Ang tawag dito is the z-table. Wait Z-table, yan, cumulative standard normal distribution. No? So, di ba, ang nakuha natin dyan is 1.73. So, let's look for 1.73. Oh. 1.7. Tapos, itong, yan, look there. Tapos, ito, yung isa. Yung isang, di ba, 1.7, ito yung hundreds digit niya. 0.3. 1.73, 0.9582 yung kanyang value. Kaya yung sagot dito. Pero actually, guys, let's look at this. Use the normal CD function on the calculator. I hope na you can start this up sa inyong computer, or if you have the regular calcu, I hope you can use this. Lower value is negative 9 times 10 to the 7th. upper is set to the z-score with sigma equals 1, the standard deviation, and mean equals 0. Okay? So, getting the value, 0.9581. Let's see. Pareho. Galing, di ba? Yan. That's how powerful this calculator is. Next, to the right of z equals negative 1.24. Same thing. By the way, ang ginawa ko pala is, you let a very low random number, very low, as in super low, tas upper is your z-score. Ito naman, baliktad in this case. Kasi to the right negative 1.24, tas super high random number. Let's see the answer. 0.8925. Or, you can get the area from the left of the z-score. So, tapos, negative 1.24. Tapos, subtract this from 1. You'll get the answer. 0.8925. Okay, I have something interesting to show you. Diba, right of z equals negative 1.24. Now, let us get yung area to the left of z equals positive 1.24. Ano pansin nyo? Pareho, diba? So, yan. Dahil symmetric yung property ng curve, if you get the positive of this, you'll essentially get the same area. Okay? I hope na imagine nyo. Parang Filipiola, mirror image. I hope you get me. Okay? Kasi it will be useful later. And lastly, 1.62 and negative 1.35. Normal CD. Negative 1.35 as the lower one. 1.62. We get 0.8589. Let's see. Always 4 decimal places na pala ngayon. Ha? Always 4. That's the convention today. Yan. 0.8589. Ngayon, I want you to try. Punta kayo sa, ano. Ay, hindi. Sige, mamaya na tayo mag-try. Okay? Just keep it on hold. Okay? Ngayon, balik lang tayo ulit. Sabi nga natin, the z-score is the number of standard deviations a particular value x is away from the mean. And each value has a specified value of the area to its left, diba? And sabi ko nga, the area under a normal curve corresponds to a probability. Kaya mas importante siya kaysa sa value ng y kanina sa equation. And always remember, dapat normally distributed yung value. Okay? I think na-discuss ko naman sa inyo yon last time. Or hindi pa ba? Hindi pa nga yata. Wait lang Let's see. Hindi pa nga pala. Okay, never mind. Basta dapat normally distributed yung value. Okay? Always remember that. Mamaya may papagawa ko sa inyo for this. So, sige guys. Actually, itong calcu nyo, kaya nyo rin hanapin kung inverse. So, meron kang given area, ano yung z value corresponding to it? So, sige, let me demonstrate lang. Area from the center to negative z is 0.0466. So, if we draw this example, if we draw natin, imagine, teka paano kaya tayo mag-draw? Sige, let me just get a PowerPoint slide. Example, guys. Area from the center to negative z. This is what it means. Okay? So, using the calcu, 0.4066. Ay, joke lang. Let me reiterate. Area from the center to negative z. So, ito pala yon. Ito yung center. Ito yung negative z. 0.0466. So, this calculator only accepts values to the left. So, what do? Diba, this is 0.5 na, 0.5. So, yung natitira is 0.5 minus 0.4066. And that's our answer. 1.32. Let's see. Yes, tama. Negative 1.32. Next, area to the right of Z is 60.64%. So, if we can imagine, the area to the right is 0.06064. So, we get the area to the left. We get the area to the left, no? Wait, nawala ba ako? Hindi. Okay, si Maya yun nawawala. Sige, 1 minus 0.6064. We get the same answer, 0.27, negative. Next, 30.85% of the area lies to the left of it. Negative 0.3085. Ay, sorry. 0.3085. Negative 0.5. Ayan, and lastly, di ba pareho? And lastly, z-score that makes up the middle 34% of the curve. So, kung middle 34%, ito yon, z-scores, dapat z-scores. So, dapat from the center to one of these, it's 0.17, di ba? Yung area. Ngayon, we get 0.5 minus that. And that is our answer. 0.5 minus 0.34. Negative. 0.5 minus 0.17. And that's our answer, 0.44. Positive, negative. Kasi pareho lang yan, di ba? Mirror image. Okay. Sige. Now, before we move on, I want you to go to the problem set. I want you to go to the problem set and answer numbers 1 and 2A. 1 and 2A for 10 minutes or 15. Depende sa inyo. Sige, 10 minutes muna. If you're done earlier, please tell me lang. I'll send the instruction. Hindi ko pala na-send yung problem set sa inyo. Wait lang. Or na-send ko pala. Okay. Answer 1 and 2A for 10 minutes. Send me your answer when you're done. And if not, and if you're done agad, please tell me para we can move on. Okay? 10 minutes. Starts now. I'll disable my sharing muna. Okay? If meron kayong di gets, please tell me. If you're done agad, tell me lang. I'm going to give you the table din mamaya in case you need it. I'm going to share it to you now in case na you need it for your answers. Wait lang Okay, time's up. Sige, let's discuss. Oh, please, sabihin nyo sa akin if di nyo nakakuha, ha? Or if may tanong kayo. Sa PM, I mean sa group chat nyo sabihin. Okay, please? If masyadong mabilis, please, sabihin nyo. Okay? I'm sharing my screen. So, ito. Let's look. Again, normal distribution. Number 1, do what is asked. Find the areas under the normal distribution curve. First, to the right of 0.29 and to the left of z equals -1. I've drawn yung curves para madali nating matansya kung ano yung gagawin natin. So, okay, let's see. Ngayon, sa number 1, we can get, di ba, ito yung binibigay na calcu. So, we can just subtract that from 1 and we'll get our desired area. Nasaan dyan? Normal CD. So, we have -1 and 0.29. We get that area, 0.45543. Then, we subtract from 1. We get this answer, 0.5445. Okay? Next, we get the area between 0 and 3.05. Just put it here. We get 0.4989. Next, to the left of z equals 1.75. So, super low number, and 1.75 here. 0.9599. Next, to the right of 0.59. So, put 0.59 here and put a random number, 0.2776 or 2775. Either will work. Next, find the z value so that the area to the right of z is 0.0885. So, I'm just drawing yung mga curves here para maintindihan nyo what we're doing. Okay? So, inverse normal, to the right, diba? So, we get to the left, 0.00885, 1.35. Next. We get 1 minus 0.8386, 0.1614, then we get the area, -0.99. Next, 25% of the area under the normal curve lies to the left of it, so we just input 0.25, we get -0.67. And lastly, 99.56% of the area under the normal curve lies to the right of it. So, 1 minus 0.9956, -2.62. Okay. Next. Lastly, for number 2, let's see. We use the same function. It's just a different statement of what we're supposed to do. Use the normal CD. Start from -0.93 to 0. We get 0.3238. Next, z is greater than -2.18. We have two options. We can use this, 0.9853, or just simply get z is less than 2.18. We get the same thing. Next, z is less than 1.5. 0.932, and lastly, -2.37, 0.37. -0.37 pala. There, we get 0.3468. Well, before I move on, may tanong ba? Sige. Okay, I figure wala naman. Okay, sige, let's go. Let's continue. 2 minutes na. Sige, next. Okay. Ngayon, let's go on to the next definition of the z-score, which is to, diba, to transform all the observations of any random normal variable x to a new set of observations with variable z or the z-score, we get the value minus mean all over standard deviation. So let's try this out. An adult has an average of 5.2 liters of blood. We assume that the variable is normally distributed and it has a standard deviation of 0.3. Now, we find the percentage of people who have less than 5.4 liters of blood in their system. Let's do the conventional method first. So yan, draw the figure para hindi kayo mahirapan. So we're asked for this area. Next, you would want to get the z-score of this value para madali nating makuha, or if you want to use the table, pwede nating makuha yung value agad. Then, substituting, x is 5.2, ito yon. Ito yung x, no? Yun yung x, or yung sample mean. Mu is the population mean, 5.2. And all over sigma, or population standard deviation, 0.3. So, 0.2 over 0.3, 6.67. Now, we have successfully transformed it into the standard normal distribution. Next, we get the probability. We can use the table I've showed you kanina, or we can just use this. Get that? So, normal CD, negative, and 0.67, we get this. Same answer. Or guys, I'll show you even a better technique. You can just simply put everything given to you in the problem. Lower bound, still that number. Upper bound, ito, kasi less than 5.4. Sigma equals 0.3, and the average is 5.2. We get the same, we get a different answer. Bakit? Kasi, ito guys, these are all rounded off, diba? So ito, this one's not rounded off. Sige, let me just check something. Wait lang guys, ha? Yeah, nagiging ganito siya kasi we round it off. Kasi in fact, di ba yan, 0.67 lang yan. Kaya siya nagiging ganon. Okay? Pero pareho lang yan. Mas tama yung nasa calcu. Wait lang, ha? Okay, next. Ayun. Ngayon, I want you to try this first. Sige nga. I'll give you 5 minutes. Use your calculator. Basically sharing, guys. I'll give you 5 minutes for that. No? Dahil sa rounding off. So, yan. 0.7475. Yun nakuha ko. Tera nga. Wait Magta-try lang ako. Wait lang guys, ha. Oh, sige. Oh, ganun lang, no? Please guys, if nyo nagigets, please tell me, okay? Please, if may problema kayo, please tell me. Hindi mahiya. Let's see. Point 6247. 0.135. Yes. Sige, 1 minute. Pag tama, i-heart reacts ko. Okay, time's up. Let's go. Let's start. Okay, game ha. Let's just use our calculator para mabilis tayo. And I think ganito rin naman papagawa sa inyo sa school. Teka, let me fix the screen sharing. Oh, let's use the normal CD. Between 27 and 31 pounds a month. Let's look at this first. Ayan, so kinonvert niya. So, it's just same as getting this. So, let's look at our calculator. 27, 31. The standard deviation is 2. And the average is 28. This is what we get. 0.6247. Okay, we're correct. Next, more than 30.2 pounds a month. Oh, we get this. 0.1357. 0.1357. There we go. May tanong, please pakisabi lang, no? Sa group chat natin. Okay? Now, let's move on to the next part. Check ko lang sa Google Meet, baka meron nag-chat. Okay, wala. Sige, let's start. Oh my God. Determining normality, we can skip this naman. Basta, Pearson's index of skewness, this is the formula. As long as the index is greater than or equal to 1, or less than or equal to 1, negative 1, ibig sabihin yung data natin skewed, di siya normal. Kasi ang normal, diba? Symmetric. So, as long as between siya, negative 1 to 1, so inclusive. As long as negative 1 to 1 siya, normal siya. Normally distributed. Skip na natin to. Basta, ito, given this frequency distribution, we get these values. Then we find na ang Pearson's coefficient of skewness is 0.148. So it means na our data are approximately distributed. Next, we go to the central limit theorem. So this is another part of our lesson today. Bakit? Kasi, di ba, in reality, in studies, people can't just study the whole, population right away. They take samples, and a lot of samples, di ba? Para masabi nilang reliable yung ginagawa nila. So, kaya meron tayong tinatawag na sampling distribution of sample means. A distribution using the means computed from all possible random samples of a specific size taken from the population. And sampling error is the difference between the sample measure and the corresponding population measure. Let's see. So, ito, some things to remember. The mean of the sample means will always be the mean of the sample means will always be the same as the population mean, and the standard deviation of the sample means is smaller than the standard deviation of the population, which is equal to sigma over square root of n. Okay? So, we get this. Example, professor gave 8-point quiz to a small class of 4 students. And we have the following results. 2, 6, 4, and 8. No? So, sabi natin 4 ng students, so we get the population mean and the standard deviation. We get this using the formulas. Ngayon, let's examine. Ayan, that's the distribution. Now, let's examine or let's take the sample means. Now, let's take the sample means. Yan, so taking everything, all the possible combinations, we get this. With, n equals 2, okay? So these are all the possible means. Now, creating a frequency distribution, we get that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. No? Pataas siya, then, yan, up, then down. So what does this tell you? Creating the graph of this, a histogram, no? A histogram of the sample means, we get this. Diba? It's normally distributed. Right? Kasi symmetric siya. So, the population mean, the mean of the population means is this. The mean of the sample means is also 80 over 16 which is equal to 5. While the standard deviation, or the standard error, as they call it, is just 1.581. What do we notice? Mu x is equal to mu. Then the standard deviation of the sample means is the standard deviation of the population all over square root of n, right? So, remember this, no? Important yan. The standard deviation of the sample means is called the standard error of the mean. Yun yung bagong tawag sa kanya. And that is where our central limit theorem comes. Diba? As sample size n increases without limit, the shape of the distribution will approach a normal distribution. Sige, naalala nyo to? Pag dinamihan natin yung sample natin, magiging mas maganda pa yung curve, mas magiging smooth. And it would become approximately normally distributed. Okay? So, if a sample size is sufficiently large, then it can be used to answer questions about individual values. Take note that this only applies for a sample from the population. What do I mean? Tignan nyo in-underline ko. Ayan, no? Pag ganyan, tsaka lang ginagamit to. Wala ba dito yun? You'll see later. Okay? Pag sinabi kong, sige, Ayan, di ba? Sinabi ng 20 children are randomly selected. Find the probability that the mean of the number of hours they watch television will be greater than 26.3 hours. So let's do the usual method. Draw the figure, then get the z-score using the central limit theorem. Yan. 1.94. Then we get 1 minus p of, kasi greater than less than 1.94. So get 1 minus that, you'll get 0.0262. Pero sige, may shortcut din yan, guys. May shortcut din yan. Normal CD pa rin. 26.3 lower, upper, random number, sigma is 3 over square root ng 20. Mean is 25. Ayan, nakasunod dyan, 25. Getting the answer, we get 0.0263. The same thing, halos. See? Lakas talaga ng calculus, no? Ganun siya pag central limit theorem. Take note, pag sinabi, if a child was randomly selected, wala tayong over square root of n. Okay? Always remember that, ha? Always remember that. Okay. Ngayon, I want you to go back to the problem set. I want you to answer 2B, 2C, 2D for 15 minutes. I'll fix the sharing. Or kung kailangan nyo pa time, I'll make it 20.
Yan.
Sige, 10 minutes. Sige, I think there's more time. I'll give... Let's check ng 2:40. Kumusta kayo guys? Okay naman? So guys, I'll give 240 na tayo mag-check. 240. See you guys, 10 minutes. Um, 5 minutes, guys. Sige, 1 minute, guys. Okay, game. Let's start. Oh. Teka. Let me fix the sharing. Sabihin nyo sa akin, guys, pag hindi nyo nakukuha. Okay. Okay, ito. Let's see. Let's have the calculus here. Oh, 2A. Now, let's try 2A, okay? 2A. Oh, IQ scores on the Stanford Binet Intelligence Test are normally distributed with a mean of 100 and standard deviation of 16. Oh, above 132 are considered to be gifted. So, paano yun? Considered to be gifted. So, let's use the normal CD. Lower is 132. Upper. Ngayon, wala naman sinasabing sample size, no? So, we don't use central limit theorem here. Okay. Oh, sigma equals 16, mean equals 100. We get the following. 0.0227. Dahil percentage yung hinahanap, 0.0 to 0.27%. Next. Oh, what is the probability that a randomly selected individual has an IQ below 110? Do the same thing. Lower is ito. Plus 110. 0.7340. Next. What is the probability that a randomly selected individual has an IQ below 90 and 120? Ay, between pala. Oh. Same thing, 0.6284. Next, in order to qualify for Mensa, an organization with IQ scores, one must have an IQ at the 98th percentile. What IQ score is required to qualify for Mensa? So, 98th percentile, kailangan daw 98%, mas mataas siya sa 98%. So, it just means that the area to the left of this score is 0.98. So, pwede nating i-diretso, inverse normal, 0.98, and there we go. That's it. We'll get 132.9. Kaya lang guys, IQ score, walang decimal dyan, round up, 133. And lastly, what range of scores make up the middle 50% of the population? So, middle 50% meaning na 25% left to the left of one score and sa kabila 75%. So, let's draw. Dito muna 0.25. Lower range 90. Upper range 111. Okay? Next, if there are people that took the intelligence test, 200 people daw. Oh, how many people got a score of between 95 and 110? Hindi pa to central limit theorem. This is not a sample. You're just theoretizing how many. So let's see. Let's get the probability of having a score between 95 and 110. Normal CD, 95, 110. 0.3567. Then, we multiply this number by 200 kasi percentage yan eh. Diba? We get 71.336 or round up kasi tao yan, 72. Okay? Next. Number 4, the average cholesterol content of a certain brand of eggs is 215 milligrams and the standard deviation is 15. Assume the variable is normally distributed. O kaya ako sinicircle yung single egg tsaka sample of 25 eggs. Kasi pag single na sinelect, hindi tayo gagamit ng central limit theorem. Only, yun na, diretso na. Sige, let's try. 210 ay lower o less than greater than 210 pa na. Ayan. Sigma is 15 and the average is 215. 0.6305 or 6306, no? Your choice. Next, a sample of 25 eggs is selected. Sinabi na, 25 eggs. So, 25 divided by square root of n divided by 5, no? Ay, sorry. Isa pa. 15 divided by the square root of 5. That's 3. 215. Ayan. So, lower bound is, ayan. Tapos yung upper bound is 220. We get 0.9522. That's it. Next, a sample of 49 eggs is selected. Find the probability that the mean of the sample will be between 210 and 220. Oh, 210, 220, 15 divided by square root of 49, which is 7. And that's it. Central limit theorem kasi merong sample. 0.9804. Lastly, if a single egg, sinabi, find the probability that it will be between 210 and 220. So, just put it there. Kasi hindi natin kailangan ng central limit theorem. So, 15 ay 1. Ay, 15 nga. O, yan. The answer is 0.2611. And lastly, nahanap dito yung sample size. So, might look hard at first, pero what do we need to do? The probability that the mean of the sample exceeds 520, yan yon, is 0.0985. Oh yeah, that's it. Yan yung area na re-refer. So, let's get the z-score first. Bakit? Kasi, by central limit theorem, kasi central limit theorem yan, kasi we take a random sample. Kasi by central limit theorem, we can get the sample size. Ayan, no? May square root of n sa ilalim. So, let's get the z-score first. 7, tas get inverse torval of 1 minus 0.0985. Kasi to the right yon. We need the area to the left. Diba? Let me repeat. Okay, sorry. Teka lang guys, teka lang. Okay. Teka, 72, 520, 508. Hindi. Okay. Sorry, mali ako nang ginagawa. Okay? So, convert, di ba, pag ganyan yung formula, kinonvert natin to standard normal distribution. So, we get sigma equals 1 and mu equals 0. So, that is the z-score. We are, 1 minus pala. 1 minus 0.0985. Sorry Yan, that's it. 1.29. Tapos, solve for n. plug in the necessary values. X bar, which is the value, is 520 minus 508 all over 72 over square root of n. If we solve for n, you'll get 59.9 and round up 60. Before we move on, nakukuha ba? Yes or no? Sige. Okay. Okay. Ayan ha, nakukuha nyo raw. Okay, sige, let's continue ha. If may tanong, just feel free to message sa chat. Okay, next. Last one. Last topic for today. No normal distribution. Confidence intervals. So, estimation, guys. Sobrang, estimation sa statistics. Kumbaga, halos lahat ng nakikita natin is estimates only. So, nag-message sa akin. Okay, sorry. Teka guys, ingay na messenger ko. Wait na. There we go. Let's go back. Estimation, ayan, basta percentage. Ayan, may mga margin of error. Kasi sa statistics, nothing's really fixed, di ba? Estimation can be done to estimate, di ba? To give a probable number, no? Kaya may error. It's prone to error kasi it's just an estimate. It's not the final thing. So, estimation is a technique used in statistics to estimate the value of the parameter or the data value of the population obtained from a sample. So, ang isa sa mga assumption, dapat randomly selected. And next, sample size must be greater than or equal to 30 or normally distributed if the sample size is less than 30. Definition of terms, population, syempre, consists of all human subjects that are being studied, and the sample is the group of subjects selected from a population. A parameter is a characteristic from the population, and statistic is from the sample. Just a few review. So, estimators are sample measures used to estimate parameters or measures for the entire population. Let's skip this. Ngayon, may dalawang klase yan. Point estimate. Specific numerical value, as in a point. Kaya nga point eh. For the population mean, the best point estimate is the sample mean. For median and for standard deviation, di masyadong ginagamit. No? For interval estimate naman, interval or range of values used to estimate the parameter. So, yung estimate na to may contain the value or not. Okay? Tapos, meron tayong tinatawag na confidence interval. Okay? Kasi may mga confidence level tayo. Okay? Confidence level is the probability that the interval estimate will contain the parameter. Okay? So, kapag 99.5% probability, you're expecting na mas malaki yung interval mo. Kasi 99.5% confidence level, so you're saying na for sure nandiyan yan sa range ko, di ba? And the confidence interval is the specific interval using the specific confidence level. Kumbaga, z-score din yan, guys. Z-score din yan. I'll discuss more later. And the margin of error is the maximum error of the estimate. Okay? Difference between the point estimate of a parameter and the actual value. So, ito yung formula. Don't be overwhelmed. Madali lang yan. The confidence interval, kasi may tatlo yan. Ang estimate natin ngayon is the mean, no? So, we're creating a confidence interval for the mean. And sigma is known, okay? Take note, sigma is known. This is the formula. Sample mean, z-score, alpha over 2, sigma over square root of n. Ito yung margin of error, guys. Asan yun? Yun yung margin of error, no? Yun yung margin of error. Tapos, let's look at the board. Ano ba yung sabihin ng z alpha over 2? Let's see. I'll just restart my camera. Oh. Z alpha over 2, ito lang yung sabihin nun. Example, 95% confidence interval. 95%, no? Take note na it starts from the center. Tapos, equal. Kumbaga, one is the negative of the other. Ilan na error na titira? 5%. So, tig 2.5% to, guys. So, yung z-score representing that is inverse normal ng 0.025. Performing that, you'll get 1.96 to. Negative 1.96. Ito, positive 1.96. 3 decimal pala. Ayan. So, example, tinanong ko kayo ng 97.5% confidence interval. So, get inverse normal ng 1 minus 0.975 over 2. Yun ang z-score. Okay? Yun ang yung sabihin nun. Now, let's go back. Yan, ito, mga common values kasi na ginagamit to. Itong mga nakikita nyo sa presentation ko. So, yun yung kadalasan na ginagamit. Pero minsan hindi. Okay? Sample is a random sample. Diba? Yun yung assumption. And normally distributed dapat. Sample size depends on, di ba yung n? What's the right sample para pasok siya sa margin of error? Yun yung kaparating tanong. So, ayan, it's based on the margin of error. Solve for n, you get this formula. Popost ko naman to ngayon na para you have the formulas na. Ito example. Oh. Population standard deviation to be 6 days. N equals 50. X bar equals 54. Confidence level equals 95%. Best point estimate is the sample mean. Diba? So, yun yung best point estimate. BPE. Yung tawag doon. Ngayon, let's draw the 95% confidence interval. 54, X bar minus confidence level, z-score, 6 over square root of 50, and do the same thing sa kabila. We'll get this, okay? So, how do we interpret this interval? For 95% confidence, I am 95% confident na the interval between 52.3 and 55.7 days contains or does not contain I can say na between 95% confidence that the interval between 52.3 and 55.7 days may contain, baka lang nahandun siya. 95% chance na nasa 52.3 to 55.7 days ang mean, population mean, based on a sample of 50 automobiles. Ano ba yung application itong confidence interval? Pag magre-research kayo guys, kasi masyado pang maaga, no? Importante yan to test the reliability of the data you got, no? Or you can estimate at least ano yung ideal na makuha mong data based from your data, no? So, you can classify if ideal ba yung data na nakuha mo or hindi. And sa fourth quarter ng stat next year, you'll be able to use this sa hypothesis testing din. But we won't be covering that na. Oh, sample size. Let's get the sample size. Oh. Oh, 99% confidence level. Ito yung within. Pag within, yun yung margin of error, guys. Yun yung E, value of E. And standard deviation is 4.2. Just, substitute the formula. You'll get this. G alpha over 2, 2.576 times 4.2 all over 2 squared. You'll get 29.35. Round up kasi days, no? Days. Eh, tsaka sample size, kapag decimal, always round up one more. Okay, pag sample size. 30 days. And kapag naman hindi mo alam yung sigma, population standard deviation is binigyan na sa'yo is sample. So, ayan, from here we can infer, hindi pala. Yun, basta kapag hindi, kapag walang population standard deviation, the sample standard deviation is the best estimate na for the population standard deviation. Then meron tayong tinatawag na degrees of freedom. The number of values that are free to vary after a sample statistic has been computed. Actually, ito yung pagkuha ng t-score, it's not as straightforward as the z-score. I'll show you later how to use this. Okay? Basta tandaan nyo to, n-1. Same pa rin ng assumptions. Example, 12, n equals 12. Normally distributed naman. Okay, standard deviation of the sample. Pag ganon, hindi natin alam to. Find the 95% confidence interval. Let's look for the t-score first. T-score. T-score, 95%. Diba? T-score, 95%. Degrees of freedom equals 11, n-1. So, let's look at the table. Meron dyan, t-table. Ayan, no? T-distribution. 95%. DF equals 11. So, ito, 2.201. That's the confidence interval na tama. And that's the t-score for this situation. Now, let's look. Sample mean equals 42. Sample standard deviation equals 8. N equals 12. T-score equals 95% for degrees of freedom 11. So, just substitute everything. 42 minus 2.201 times 8 over square root of 12 less than mean, less than plus of that, you get this. So, I can say 95% with confidence na ang population mean natin ay baka lang between 36.92 to 47.08 degrees Fahrenheit. And lastly, to recap lang, ayan, kapag sigma is known, use z-score and sigma. Kapag hindi alam ang sigma, use t alpha over 2 or t-score and s. Okay? And for proportions naman, basta percentage, proportion na agad yan. Okay? Kasi ratio yan 12 over 100. It's a fraction. So, kasi meron din tayong confidence interval for proportions. Proportion is a convenient way to measure yung mga, to quantify stuff. Diba? Lalo na pag sobrang laki. P equals population proportion, and P hat is the sample proportion with the characteristics of interest. Okay? And dahil 1 ang total population proportion, ang Q hat is 1 minus P. Let's see. Let's try. 150 N. Find P hat and Q hat. P hat is the proportion of victims who took no self-protection action against the criminal. Yun. So, take P hat, it's 45 over 150. Yan. And ang Q hat is 1 minus that. You can write in decimals fractions. There we go. That's the answer. And now, let me show you an example. This is the formula pala for confidence interval of a proportion. P hat minus z-score times square root of P hat Q hat over N less than P hat plus Z o alpha over 2 square root of P hat Q hat over N. Same values, no? Z alpha over 2 rin yung gamit. So, same method of getting that as I have taught you kanina. Binomial experiment siya, no? Binomial experiment. Kung pag napapansin nyo, it's only P and Q. Wala nang R, no? Dalawa lang yung proportion. And E is still the sample error, margin of error, round up to the whole number kapag decimal nakuha. Solve for N, you'll get this. Okay? So, find the confidence interval. Oh, paid for their education by student loans. So, alam natin na itong given na to, that is your P hat. Yun yung N, ito yung P hat. Ito yung confidence level. Now, let's try. Let's see the answer. P hat and Q hat. Ayan. X over N. Ito. Over ito. You'll get 0.23. Then Q hat is 0.77. Determine the critical value. Diba? 90% confidence interval, 1.65. Yung z-score. And substitute in the formulas, you'll get this, no? Sobrang haba, hindi ko nabasahin. You can either give the answer in decimals or pwede rin percent. So, interpretation, 90% confident that the percentage of students who pay, or your proportion, who pay for their college education by student loans is between 21 to 24.9%. And lastly, sample size, just use the formula. Ito ulit, yung error, margin of error, E. Ito yung confidence level. Oh, ano gusto niya? Estimate ito. Don't have a landline phone. So, itong binigay dito ay P hat na. Di ba? Then, substitute in the formula. Ayan. You'll get 2,304. Round up, 2,305. Ngayon, with almost 20 minutes remaining, I'll give you until 3:20 to answer wait lang. Teka lang guys ha. I'll type yung gusto kong answeran nyo. 3A 3B 3C 3D2 3I 3FI. Ayan. 15 minutes. Just answer as many as you can. Okay? Then we'll discuss after. Yung 320 lang. Let me fix your sharing. 4 minutes, guys. Two minutes, guys. Okay, time's up. Sige. Now, I will finish everything na. I won't be writing na sa whiteboard kasi sayang sa time. So, let's look at the screen. So, sige, ito. Let's do this. 3A. Calculate the following. Inverse normal, 99.9. Parating positive yung value. Okay? Divided by 2. Negative 2.807. Number 2. 1 minus 0.875 divided by 2. Negative 1.534. Next. 1 minus 0.93 divided by 2. Solve. Negative 1.811 or 812. Next. 1 minus 0.94 divided by 2. Negative 1.881. And lastly, 1 minus 0.925 over 2. 0.0375, we get 1.780. That's all. Next, sample size. Ina-underline ko yung mga important, okay? Population mean. So, use confidence interval for mu when sigma is known. Okay? So, yan yung mga values. Z-score is 1.96 kasi 95% confidence. Margin of error is 2 kasi nakasabi dyan. And sigma equals 7.5. Solve everything, you'll get 54.02 or 55. Next, letter C. Of 35.2% of men ages 18 to 44 daw. Estimate the true proportion of men that are fit in this group. Fit in this group. Ito raw yun. Yun agad yung P hat. 0.352. 1 minus P hat is Q hat. 0.648. Z-score is 1.645 kasi 90% confidence. Substitute everything, you'll get 988, no? In all. Next, letter D. Proportion, true proportion of high school graduates who take the SAT. Ito raw yung pampalito lang iba. Ito yung pinaka-important. Ayan, true proportion. So, get P hat, 195 over 300. Q hat is 1 minus P hat, so 105 over 300. Z-score is 95%. Z-score, diba, is inverse ng, pero sige, discuss ko na lahat, no? Basta get the necessary Z-score. Then use the formula, plug it in. For 95% confidence, you'll get this interval. 0.596 less than P less than 0.704. For 99.5% confidence, get the Z-score, 2.807. Using inverse normal of 1 minus 0.995 over 2. There we go. That's the correct interval. And lastly, ganun din dito. Hindi ko na isa-isahin, Okay? Okay. Next. Letter E. Standard deviation of the sample was 5.6. Sample. So, obviously, use T distribution. Ci for mu, sigma unknown. Next, get the T-score. Marami akong binigay na values para malito kayo. Pero dapat, instant na agad sa inyo, automatic, kung ano yung gagamitin nyo. N equals 18, degrees of freedom equals 70. So, yun. Use T, use that. Lahat ng items, gamitin mo yung T, df equals 17. So, use the formula, x bar minus T alpha over 2, 2.1110, so on and so forth. You get the following values. Ito for 95%, ito for 90%, medyo huli for 99%. And lastly, for proportion, ito. Kasi sabi, hindi pala, confidence interval for, standard deviation of the population is known. Ayun, nakasulat siya. 7.9. Confidence interval for mu, sigma is known. Best point estimate, BPE, is the sample mean, 61.2. Yun, get all the other values. For 95%, Z-score 1.96, you'll get this. For 89% confidence, get inverse normal of 1 minus 0.89 over 2, you get the Z-score. You get this. And lastly, ito rin. Merong optional homework dito. Answer as you want. Pero not required naman, of course. Ayun lang. So, before we end, ayan. Some more if you want. Okay? So, ayun, that's our last session. Pasensya na hindi na ako nakapag, ng film. Well, bridging na rin naman, and I think you should concentrate on that din naman. And ako rin, I've got things to do rin, no? I'm almost starting na sa school. Ayun, kahit 9 sessions na tayo nagkita, hanga ako sa inyo, good job. I hope you're doing great, and I want to wish you luck in your future endeavors. Sa grade 9, medyo mahirap yan kasi halos lahat ng subject mo, 1 unit lang, no? So, you don't know what to prioritize. Pero, ayun, I hope that you'll do great. Kayang-kaya nyo yan. Then, if you need help, feel free to ask me lang, no? You earned it. And lalo na pag magka-college na kayo, I'm willing to help you naman. Some other matters, yung class natin, yung classroom natin, I will archive it next week. Nag-post na ako hindi pa pala ako nagpo-post. I'll archive it next Friday. So if you want to save any materials, please do so. And don't share my materials unless you have my permission. Okay? Ano pa ba? And I would appreciate any feedback from you guys, no, on how I teach. I really appreciate any feedback you could tell me or any future points for improvement. Lalo na kung ulitin ulit natin to. Or sa mga susunod ko estudyante, no? Yun lang, maraming salamat. Thank you for trusting me to teach you. Yun lang, bye-bye. Sige, bye-bye, maraming salamat. We're done.